Welcome to Mantsha Pheeha's YouTube channel, and thank you for watching this Money 101 webinar. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn a lot. I hope it helps you in some way financially so that you can go to a better place. And if it has blessed you, please share it with others around you and subscribe to our channel. In order to buy the book, you are welcome to follow on social media platforms, Mantsha Pheeha, to also email on mantsha@mantsha.com or to visit our website, mantsha.com. Thank you for taking your time to listen to this and subscribe so that when we have more videos, you may be the first to hear about it. Enjoy it. Thank you. Today we are going to continue to design a money system. And last week we actually spent some time talking about how to audit your finances. So remember that you are the one that knows what's happening with your finances. You are the one that knows where you are. You are the one that knows what's going on. And for many of us, we are always over optimistic when it comes to where we are with finances. So we always think we are doing better than we really are. So don't worry. If you feel like you are over optimistic, chances are you are not the only one. We are all like that. So today we are going to do something very simple. We are going to design a money system for your personal finances. So all of us, we are at different places financially. We want different things. I think last week when we were having the discussion, one of the first two things that I started with was, what is your why? Why do you want to win with finances? Why do you want to do well with finances? And if you are able to honestly and authentically answer that question, you will now that you understand your motives, you will fuel your activities, you will fuel your actions. I'll give you a simple example. If there are things that you want to buy, but you have some really strong long-term whys, you will not buy those things because you know that there are certain things that you want to achieve later on in your life. And for you to achieve those things, you need money to achieve them. So today, we are going to focus on the money system, as I said, and the money system comprises of two things. Let me show this. Okay, I'm just trying to maximize my video here. Okay. So the money system comprises of two things. One, you have to make money. Two, you have to keep some of the money you make. And three, you have to grow your money. So in a nutshell, that's all that is contained in your money system. You're making money, you are keeping some of the money that you are making, and then you are growing money. So, I mean, we won't necessarily go into details today, but the idea is for you to understand that if you do these three things, you'll be successful with money. And last week I mentioned that every time when we read finance books always assume that we are making money. And so in many finance books, you never really get a chance to be taught how to make money. So we won't spend a lot of time here, but there are some basic things. A lot of people, they earn salaries. Now that we are in a gig economy, some people will gig and they have a rate. So with a salary, I think it's clear you will get a salary monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, however way that you are paid. And for most people, you will get increases, you'll get bonuses, you'll have benefits. And some of the benefits that you have, you may never monetize them. I'll give you an example. The fact that at your workplace, they give you Wi-Fi, they give you a phone. If you travel for work, they'll pay for your travel. If you go to meetings, they will give you food. So that for people who are employed, there are a whole lot of benefits that are included in your salary that have a monetary value to the company, that for most of us who are employees, we never calculate that monetary value. But if you ever find yourself contracting or freelancing, you know very well the importance of some of these benefits. that you get in a salary. Because what happens when you are contracting and freelancing is that everything that you need to deliver on a project, you are paying for it from your own pocket. So when you are freelancing or when you are contracting or when you are doing gigs, whether it's music gigs, whether it's more creative gigs or professional gigs, or some of the things that are not necessarily considered gigs like speaking, emceeing, etc., all those things, when you calculate your rate, you need to ensure that you are including all the costs that go towards you delivering that particular service that you are delivering. So it's very important then that if you are gigging or if you are contracting or if you are freelancing, your rate considers all the things that you need, all the costs that you are incurring in order to deliver that service. So then some people, they are in business, some people are self-employed, and I'm not going to go through them all. Some people are trading, whether they are trading services or goods. So when it comes to making money, all of us have a primary way of making money. So for most people, they make money one way. But for a lot of people, they have a primary source of income and they have other additional things that they do to make an additional income. So other people, they do hair, other people, they sell, they're involved in network marketing, other people are always peddling one thing or another. So when it comes to making money, remember, the idea here is that you should make more money. So in making more money, you can either increase the rate of your primary source of income, or you can get additional sources of income. The one thing that I've seen a lot of people doing when it comes to getting an additional source of income, I've seen a lot of people looking down on their main source of income in an attempt to get an additional source of income. Let me explain what I mean. So you work, you are a finance manager, you earn 17,000 or you earn 37,000, and someone comes and says, I am selling these products in a network marketing company, and they start to make you feel like your job is beneath the network marketing. But actually, when you look at your job makes more money than the network marketing company. So it's very important that in an attempt to get an additional stream of income, you don't cannibalize your current source of income. Your main source of income, whatever it is, even if you want to migrate to something else, don't migrate too soon. So when it comes to making money, let's say you are employed, you are earning a certain amount of money. Whatever money it is that you are earning is important because it is a bird in hand. So don't focus so much on a bird that is in the bush that you end up losing the bird that is in hand. I mean, I've seen a lot of people going into performance management at their workplaces simply because they focus more on their side hustles. And what they didn't realize is that actually most of the people that bought their products were people from their job. So as soon as you lose your job, you actually lose a bulk of your customers because now your access card is blocked and you can't go into the workplace anymore. So whatever it is that you are involved in terms of making money, make sure that if you are adding an additional stream of income, I know, especially for those of us who go to church, this issue of multiple streams of income is a very, very big thing, as if the only way to make money is to have multiple streams of income. Actually, you can make money through multiple streams of income, or you can make money through maximizing one stream of income. I hear a lot of people saying you can't get rich from a job, but I personally know a lot of people who are rich from a job. So I don't want, for those of you who are, whether you are employed or you are involved in a business or whatever it is that you are engaged in, I don't want you to look down on what you have now and wish you had something better to the point that you even end up losing what you have. So I mean, in my book and also in the workbook, I speak a lot about this making money, and a whole lot of exercises involved in that, but I won't spend a lot of time on that today because I actually want us to spend more time on the money system. Then the second thing is you need to keep some of the money that you make. And here, the most important instrument that you have when it comes to keeping money is your budget. And I know that some people are very meticulous. You have your budget on a spreadsheet. You are always checking whether you are spending against your budget. But I know that for many of us, you are just like, hey, whatever money comes into my life, I spend it as it comes. So the one thing that I want to encourage you, there are a whole lot of resources on the internet that will give you budget templates. If you need a template, you can also just send me an email. I can send you one that I use, which is quite good. It will show you trends. It will show you if you are how you are spending your actuals. You can put in your spending daily. You can look at your bank statement and begin to put and categorize your spending inside the spreadsheet. It's actually quite nifty. So but otherwise on the internet there is a host of resources that you can use in order to budget. So here the idea is whatever money that you are making in column 1, you have to decide a percentage that you are going to keep. Whatever that percentage is, it can range from 1% to 100%. So you decide how much money you want to keep. And then the last thing is all the different instruments that are available to grow your money. And when it comes to the different instruments that are available to grow your money, you need to understand what your intentions for growing your money is. And when you understand what your intentions are, you will know how much risk you can take. You will also know in terms of access, whether you have to save in something that is easily accessible or something that has a bit more, is stricter, and it will take a while for you to be able to access it. So let's get into the topic for the day, which is designing your personal money system. And I'm going to start with the first money system that I'm going to start with is from this guy, Jim Rohn. So he introduces 10, 10, 10, 70. And he says, if you can't do 10, 10, 10, 70, start with 1, 1, 1, 97. So 10% of your money is for giving. 10% of your money is active capital. And don't worry, I'm going to talk about it. 10% of your money is passive capital. And 10% of your money, and 70% of your money is for your living expenses. So when I saw this, never mind my handwriting, guys. I was supposed to be a doctor in another life, but well, clearly that didn't happen. So when you look at this, I always say, when it comes to percentages and when it comes to designing a money system, don't be glued on the percentages. The idea is you need to have a constant system that you follow, so that every time when money comes into your life, you don't have to think about how to spend that money. So 10% of giving is very clear. You decide how you want to spend the money. You decide if you want to tithe at your church, if you want to give to your charity, if you want to give to your family. It's your decision how you are going to spend this money, which is the 10% from. The second thing, which I thought was such an interesting thing that Jim Rohn teaches, is active capital. Here he says 10% of all the income that you receive, make sure that you are involved in trading. You are the one that is involved in whether you are buying or selling, whether you are going to school so that your rate can go up, so that you can get promoted, so that you can make more money, whether you are going to Maraba Start to buy whatever, or you are giving it to someone to start a garden. But here, the idea is all of us should be enterprising, and there should be a percentage of your money that you put in you to make sure that you yourself increase that money. So active capital is where you are the one that is trading. So here, whether this works or not, it will depend on you. Then the second 10%, you are going to put it in what is called passive capital. And passive capital is money that you give to someone else to invest on your behalf. So here, what you will then see is that you have you are buying bonds at a bank and you are getting an interest payment. You are buying shares, whether you are buying them via unit trusts, or maybe there's some kind of investment account that you can have, or however way that you are investing, or maybe you buy a share in a company or in a business that you know privately, and you will get dividends. So the idea with passive capital is this is money that is not managed by you. And I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, I have to put it out there. So before you decide where to put the money, that 10%, if you don't have the knowledge, if you don't know where to invest the money, it becomes very important then that you sit with a financial advisor, you sit with your banker, you sit with a broker, you sit with someone who knows what to do, because a lot of people have lost money simply because they invested in something that they don't understand. So already we have accounted for the 30%. 10% is for your giving, 10% is for your active capital, and 10% is for your passive capital. And then you are living on 70%. So if you look at this, this is a very, very simple plan. So you live on this passive, active, giving. If you are in so much debt, or your living costs are so high that you cannot afford to live on 70%, you must not give up and say, I know this is not for me. What you are going to do is that you are going to live on 97%. And you are going to put 1% on your passive income. You are going to put 1% on your active capital, passive capital, active capital, and you are going to put 1% on your giving. Here, the beauty of this is that any increase that you get, any bonus that you get, any windfall that you get, if you ever apply for a new job and the new job is paying better, or whatever situation it is that changes your finances, the idea is you are always moving towards this. And for many people, what would then happen is, because you are now used to living on less than what you make, these percentages will begin to increase, and you can decide what you want to increase. So if later on in your life you decide that you want to go into business, which means you want to operate more here in this active place, then you are going to put more of your percentages in the active capital, so that you can start to build, to buy stuff for your business, to build your business, to hire people, to grow your business. And if you increase your active capital and your passive capital, then you will need to live on less and less of the money that you make. So the idea here is to get to a point where we are living on much less than we make. Les Brown says when he started being serious about money, he started saving 10%. Then as he made more money, he did not stick to the 10%. He then went on to save 15%. And now he's at a point where he saves 25%. And he has made a decision, however much money that he makes, he is going to live on 75% of the money that he makes. So this is the first system that we're going to talk about. Now I'm going to introduce another system. Funny enough, the numbers are similar, and I was very chuffed because this is my personal system, and I was very chuffed when I saw that Jim Rohn actually uses a similar system. So with this system, my 10% is the same with him giving. This whole type thing, I guess, is a big deal for all of us. So 10% is for my giving, and for you, you can decide whatever percentage you want to allocate to your giving. Remember, no one has to impose a finance system on you. You are the one that decides how much money you allocate where. If it is your personal system and you own it, you will be committed to it. If you choose a system because I recommend it for you, when it doesn't work, you will find yourself saying things like, these things that they are showing us are not working. Whereas if you give yourself time, you sit down, you decide on the percentages, you will realize that this is what feels right for me. You will commit to it. And if you are committed to a system that makes sense, that system is going to benefit you. So 10% for me is for giving. Then the second 10% is for short-term savings. Then the second 10% is for long-term savings. And then I also live on 70%. So let me speak again on this living on 70%. And once you are enrolled on the full course, the Money 101 course, we will get to a point where we are going through the different forms of dealing with debt. You can either use the waterfall method, or you can use the snowfall method to deal with your debt. So we'll get to a point where we talk about dealing with the debt. You must make sure that you are paying for your debt out of the 70%. So when you allocate your money like this, don't say, but how am I going to pay for my debt? You need to ensure that out of the 70% that you are living on, part of that money is for paying for your debt. So when people are dealing with debt, there are people who are up to date with their payments, and they are paying, whether it's minimum payments or additional payments, they are paying them every month. So it's easy for them to say, okay, I'm going to pay for my debt out of the 70%. Then there are people who don't have enough money to pay for their debt out of the 70%. And if you are one of those people, I want you to understand that you need to find a way to pay for your debts out of the 70%. And I mean, this is where now we are having very difficult conversations. I remember one time I was on Power FM and I was talking about this, and I was sharing this system. And as I was sharing this system, they then opened for people to call. And the main question that I was getting during that time is people who were saying, we love this system, we want to use this system, but we are not making enough money. And I'll give you an example of one of the guys who called. So one of the guys who called then said he makes 4,000 rands, and he spends almost all his money on traveling to work and on accommodation. And when we calculated, I then said to him, considering the amount of money that you make and considering how much you are paying for accommodation and transport, the reality in your life is you don't afford to stay where you stay. And these are some of the things that we will begin to see when we are using a money system, because a money system will give you the data. A money system will tell you, you can't afford to buy where you are buying your clothes. You can't afford to buy groceries where you are buying it. If you do hair and you are not like some of us, a money system will tell you, you can't afford your hairstyle. You can't afford your makeup. You can't afford to travel as much as you do, because some of the things we think they are purchases that we don't have a choice on. Like, you're always traveling, you're always on the road, you're using a lot of money on petrol, but you actually can't afford to spend so much money on traveling. Maybe you need to park your car. Maybe you need to downgrade your car. Maybe you need to share if you're staying alone in an apartment, or if there's additional rooms in your house, you need to rent them out, whatever the case is. So a money system is objective. A money system is not emotional. A money system will not say, no, but I like fancy things. I like going out to restaurants. A money system will just give you the data that says, no, you cannot afford these things. So as I've already said, in the actual course, you actually get to see how we deal with the debt, so that it's very clear to you how many months it will take you to eliminate your debt, and how you need to eliminate that debt. So when we go back to the system, 10% of the giving, I think it's clear, is this 10% of gross or net salary. So I think, to be honest, it doesn't matter whether you are using a net or gross. So depending on where you are starting financially, if you are really in a bad place and you cannot afford to use these percentages on your gross, use them on your net. Because if you are using them on your gross, it means that your tax will be part of the 70%. But if you are in a really bad place, rather start by giving 10%, these 10% on your net, because it will be much lower. And you'll never have to worry about dealing with the gross, because as you increase these percentages, then the money that you are contributing towards these three things will become bigger. Because to be honest with you guys, if we are not careful, we will spend our entire lives working, whether you are in a business or you are employed. We will spend our entire lives working and we will have nothing to show for it. It is so sad, especially when I'm sitting with people who are now going through a phase of retirement, they are going through pension, and it's only now that they want to pay off their houses. It's only now that they want to pay off their cars. It's only now that they want to clear their debt. So at a time in their lives where they should be relaxing, where they are old people and they need to be thinking about how to enjoy their lives, they are still dealing with debt because they failed to deal with it when they are younger. But if you are older, it doesn't mean there's no hope for you. You don't have to worry. Even if you are older, just introduce a money system in your life. Follow it, not for a couple of months, follow it for a couple of years, and in due time, that system will serve you. You start out saving the system, but after some time, the system will start to serve you. So let's go back. 10% of giving, I don't have to talk about it again. 10% short term, 10% long term. So here the idea is there are certain things that you want to buy in the short term within the period of 1 to 5 years. Those things include cars, they may include appliances, they may include renovations of a house if you are living in a house, they may include things like holidays, but there are certain short-term goals that you have. They may include taking your children to school, whatever those short-term goals are. If your child is in matric, that child going to university is a short-term goal. If your child is in kindergarten, if your child is at crèche, that child going to university is a long-term goal. So 10% of the money goes towards your short-term goals, because if you don't plan for your short-term goals, you will always go into debt in order to meet your short-term financial needs. So it's very important that you plan for your short-term goals. Then the second thing, some of the things, it may not look like you need them now, but if you plan ahead, you will be able to, if you plan ahead, you will be able to save for those things. I'll give you an example. So right now, I drive a car which I bought in 2012, which means my car is 8 years old this year. I could be saying, I'm going to drive this car until the wheels fall off. And trust me, one day the wheels will fall off. Right now, I'm in a position when I feel like, oh, my car is paid up, I don't need another car. But mechanically, the car will reach a point where I need to buy another car. If I don't plan properly right now, when I don't have repayments for a car, when the time to buy a car comes, I will have to finance a new car. Whereas if I plan properly for my long-term goals, I can take the money now that I'm not using to pay for this current car, save it, so that by the time I have to buy a new car, I buy it cash. Another example could be if you are now living in a small house and you know that you are expecting to have children, to have 3 children in the near future. So instead of saying, yo, my house is small, my bond is small, I don't have to pay a lot of money on my bond, rather save the additional money that you have, so that later on, when each of your children are teenagers and they need their own rooms, you are able to purchase a bigger house. So here, the idea is that you have short-term goals, you have written them down, you know what those short-term goals are, and you have funded them. The second thing is you have long-term goals and you funded them. The most important thing is this amount has to go down. The percentage of money that you are living in has to go down. And these 3, you must always have a view to take them up. Ne? So now let's look at some of the other money systems, and then if you guys have questions, please feel free to ask them. Let me see. Didintle, yes, Didintle said she got it. If you have a question, you can just type on the Q&A. So another money system, I'm just going to quickly share them with you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So this one, it comes from, and most of you may have read, The Richest Man in Babylon. So The Richest Man in Babylon, firstly, make money. Make money. So you decide how you are going to make money, and you decide to be serious about how you're going to make money. Will the long-term investment, oh, thank you, Terry. Will the long-term investment include retirement annuity? So obviously, so the thing with us when we are young and active is we never think we are going to retire. And last week, and we'll share all the webinar videos, I think sometime this week or next week, we'll share them on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll share both of them there. So last week I spoke about the fact that even in retirement, when you're thinking about the long term, you need to ask yourself, will I still be working in retirement, or will I not be working in retirement? Because if you will still be working in retirement, the way you fund your retirement is different, because you don't have to fund your entire living expenses. If you are not working, the way you fund your retirement is different, because whatever investments you made when you are working, they have to give you enough income to live on. And sometimes you may assume that you will be able to work in retirement and reach retirement and find out that you cannot work in retirement. And these are some of the things that we don't want to accept due to illness, or due to whatever reason, maybe the fact that your career choice has become obsolete and you can't work anymore, and maybe it's too late for you to learn a new skill. Whatever situation it is that you may face in the future, you don't know what the future is going to look like. So the idea is you want to fund for retirement as if you won't be working, but continue with your life as if you would be working. So those two realities happening at the same time. So when you are funding your long-term goals, you need to think about two things that we often don't want to think about, which is retirement, retirement, illness, and death. So you need to fund your retirement, you need to fund your medical expenses. And when you fund your medical expenses, remember, you don't even know what those medical expenses are going to look like. So you need to ensure that when that time comes, you are able to fund your medical expenses. And thirdly, especially if you have dependents, you need to fund your death. Does that make sense, guys? So after you have died, if you have dependents, your dependents should be able to continue with the cost of living they had when you were alive. So you can't say, I know God will take care of my children. If I die, I die. Yes, God will take care of your children, but the responsible thing to do is, if you have dependents, fund your death in such a way that after you have died, there is money that is available for your tenants, for your dependents. Hey, tenants. You see, I don't have dependents, I have tenants. That's why I'm thinking about tenants. So thank you for that question, Terry. If there's any other question, please feel free to ask. So in The Richest Man in Babylon, the first idea is to make money. So for those of you who may have read the book, when Akkad was working as a scribe, as a writer, he said some words there that were very important. He said, there was no one who could work as hard as me. So he made sure that he was productive. He was working very hard, which meant that at his level, he was getting maximum income, because he was operating at maximum capacity, at maximum productivity. So even for us, when it comes to making money, your primary source of income, make sure that you are doing so well in your primary source of income that you are earning the best income you can earn in your income category. And last week, I think we had some very unpleasant conversations around, given your skills, given your experience, given your education, do you think the salary you earn is equal to what you are bringing to the table? If you are underpaid, what is it that you can do to be equal to where you operate? If you are overpaid, great for you. If you are paid at your level, it's okay, it's fine. You are not short-circuiting yourself. But if you are underpaid, you need to start to ask yourself the difficult questions. So make money. Then with this one, the 5 Laws of Gold by George Clason, the first one, yes, is make money. The second one is save a minimum of 10%. And 10% seems to be the 10% seems to be the interesting number. 10%. Save at least 10%, a minimum of 10%. And for me, I'm very flexible on this. I'd rather you save something than save zero because you don't have 10%. A lot of people don't save anything because they say, I have nothing. Even if it means you are taking 100 Rand and you are putting it away in an investment account that does not earn an interest. Every 5 months, you can take it and buy unit trust for 500 Rand. So instead of saying, I don't have 500 Rand to buy unit trusts every month, rather say, I will buy unit trust 500 Rand worth of unit trust quarterly, or 1,000 Rands worth of unit trusts every year. But at least get into the habit that every time when you receive money, you save some of it. This one, I've really made a lot of noise about it. Then in this particular system, he then says, find opportunities to grow your money. And he spends a lot of time talking about investments. Again, if you have the book, you'll see them. You'll see all the examples. Don't invest in businesses that you don't understand. There's a whole lot of noise around a lot of things that start out well. The first few people make a lot of money, but the rest of the people who join late actually end up losing all their money. Then another one, another system that I'm just going to quickly browse over, find creative ways to earn more money. And the thing with earning more money is every Rand counts, every 100 Rand counts, every 1,000 Rand counts. But also, if you feel that you are at an income level where you don't want to earn more money, you don't have to put yourself under pressure to earn more money. If you are comfortable, it's okay. Stay where you are, maintain where you are. Just make sure that you are keeping up with inflation, because inflation will erode your money. So if you are keeping up with inflation and you are fine, stay where you are. Then the second thing in keeping your money, again, save 10% of your income. And I think I spoke at great length about controlling your expenditure through a budget. A budget is for you. A budget serves you. You decide what goes into your budget. A budget does not control you. You control the budget. Then make sure that you protect your savings from loss. I think it's the same thing that was said in the previous system, to say, don't lose money. Don't put your money on things you don't understand. Own your house. And I think this one it's very important. We haven't seen it coming through before. Own your house. So owning your house means pay off your house. And a lot of people will say, no, paying off your house is not a good idea because the savings on your interest on the bond is less than how much you can make in savings. Just give yourself time, calculate your bond repayments, calculate over the 20-year period, look at how much you purchased your house for, and tell me that, is it not worth it to pay for your house sooner so that you can save all that money, one, in interest payments, but two, there is a cost involved in accessing that money in your bond. So own your house, pay it off. For most of us, especially those of us who live in the suburbs, you will always have rates, you will always have levies, you'll always have security, and all those things that you'll have to pay for the rest of your life. But that does not mean you always have to be paying the bank as well. So all those things, when you project, you'll be saying, I'll pay for these things for the rest of my life, but at least my bond will be paid for. And then number 6 on this particular one, build your retirement savings. And lastly, grow your savings. So when it comes to retirement, there are only 2 options when it comes to retirement. One, you may die young. If you die young, you don't need retirement savings. You need to fund your death if you die young. The other option is you will live long. And right now, we are living healthy lives, we are eating healthy, we are exercising, We are conscious of our health. We are praying for our health. So what tends to happen is life expectancy is so much higher. People are living for longer. Insurances were projecting that people will live up to 75. People are living beyond 100. People are living up to 90, and their retirement savings are running out. So you either plan for retirement, and because we don't have decisions on death, we don't know if we will die young or not. So just fund your retirement savings. If you die young, don't worry, someone else is going to benefit, and chances are those are people that you would have chosen to benefit from you. Then the last system, this one you'll find it in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And anyway, especially for us as Christians, sometimes when you read this stuff, it feels a bit new age, but don't worry, it's the principle that we're picking up, nothing else. So decide how much money you want over a lifetime amount. Decide, this is how much money I want to make. Once you have decided how much money you want to make, decide which activities you are going to commit to get that money. Maybe let's give it some time, this one. So first, you decide how much money you want. So you decide, okay, for me, as an example, I'm 42 now. If I live until I'm 82, it's just an example, guys. I'm not saying I'll live until I'm 82. Okay, what happens to the money contributed in retirement if you die young? If you die young, your retirement savings will go to your beneficiaries. And this is very important, especially for those of us who don't have children. Make sure that you update them. Make sure that you update the beneficiaries on your policies so that we don't have problems. One, make sure you have a will. Two, make sure that on all your policies, you have updated your beneficiaries. You are the one that will decide where the money goes. So let me give you an example. So I'm single. I don't have children. When my mother was alive, she was one of the beneficiaries on my policies. As soon as she dies, I have to go back to my policies and update my policies and make sure that every beneficiary on my policies, on my wills, on every asset that I have is people who are alive. Because, I mean, we've seen situations where family members died, and when they looked at the beneficiary died 6 years ago, and the person did not update their beneficiaries. So please, put a note tomorrow. Make sure that you call whoever your policy holder is, you call your financial planner, you check online if you have online access, see who your beneficiaries are. If there are no allocated beneficiaries, allocate the beneficiaries. Check your will, check that your will is up to date. If it's not up to date, update it. Paying 2,000 rands to get a will is going to save people a lot of headaches after you are dead. Guys, very, very important. So that money, it goes to your beneficiaries. So I'm 42 now, as I was saying, and let's say I live up to 82, which means I have 40 years to live. To make this simple, I'm going to say every year I need to live on 1 million. I'm just making it very simple so that the maths can be easy. Not that I need to live on 1 million. I'm just doing it like this so that the maths can be easy. So if I need to live on 1 million, if we use today's value of money, and for you to extend it into a future value of money, it will be a separate thing. But in today's terms, I need to save 40 million so that I can have 1 million a year. The question that now I have to ask myself, what activities, work or business will I commit to get that money? So if it's work, it's very easy. All I need to do is I need to work at a place where my cost to company is 1 million per year for the next 40 years. I don't know if you can work while you are still 82. I don't know what the case is. Or I can decide I don't necessarily need to live on that much money. I can make sure that I save more. And by the time I'm 60, my interest and dividend payments give me 1 million. So that way then, when you are planning for your finances, you know the number that you are working towards. You know that you are not just saying, oh, I want to be rich, I want to be financially free, but you know what that number for financial freedom is. Last week, we spent a lot of time talking about the different ways to say, instead of saying, I'm going to get 1 million per year, you can decide, while I'm working, I'm going to buy property, and this property is going to give me, if this was 1.2, it's going to give me, let's say, 83,000 per month. So if I have property that is supposed to give me 83,000 per month, 83,000 per month, I know that I need 10 units that will give me 8,300, and I buy 1 unit every 2 years. I buy 1 unit every 2 years. So to buy 10 units, I need 20 years. If I'm 42 now, by the time I'm 62, I'll have 20 units. If I don't have anything, I start buying now. By the time I'm 62, I'll have 20 units. And from 62 to 82, I'll live on the money from my units. So it doesn't matter how you do it. You can decide to start a business now and grow your business to the point that when you are in retirement, you have a manager for your business, and that manager runs your business. Or you can decide, I'm just going to work, contribute 30% of my salary towards my retirement savings, because beyond the age of 65, I don't want to work anymore. So you decide on what activities, and those activities will fund the money that you decided that you want to raise. Then you write down a clear statement of how you are going to get that money. What are you willing to do? Are you willing to work more? Are you willing to study to be a subject matter expert in your field? Are you going to market more than the average person? What is it that you are going to do that is going to ensure that you get the stuff that you want? And have faith. Believe in what you are doing. Believe in yourself. So that's it for today, guys. I think the most important thing with the money system, let me just remind you quickly, is you can either do this one, 10, 10, 10, 70, all of them, you live on 70% as a start. This one is your giving. This one, active capital or short-term savings. So either you choose this one and you do active capital, or you choose this one and you do your short-term savings. Here is passive capital. If you are using this one, it will be your long-term savings. And here, this is money that you are living on. What I like about Jim Rohn's one, where it's active and passive capital, is that this 10% keeps on growing. That's what I like about it. Whereas with the savings, some savings may not necessarily grow. The idea with the savings may not be to grow the money, but it may just be to preserve it, so that when you need to buy something, you are able to buy it. Guys, I don't know if there are any other questions. Someone has sponsored us 5 books, so I'll just do a draw. I'll just do like this and do a draw, and 5 people will get the book. And as I said earlier, we will also be able to share the videos with you. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because once you subscribe to the YouTube channel, it becomes very easy, because you just get them as they appear. So guys, that's it. Then we have come to the end of today. I never really want to drag it for longer than we are supposed to. I will share it on Facebook, since we didn't manage to share it. Thank you, Mpo. Say me yes, you can get another one if it's you that gets it. Thank you with the long term. Okay, Terry, I've already answered your question. Let's see if there's another question this side. What is the channel's name? Okay, the channel's name is just Mantsha Pheeha. Just Mantsha Pheeha, the channel's name. I think for those of you who received the email, I've also shared it on the emails, but I will share it. I will share it as well. So the YouTube channel is just Mantsha Pheeha. And by next week, definitely, we would have shared both both of them, of the videos. Guys, thank you very much for joining. Please send your feedback. Those of you who have sent feedback, you are the reason why we improved. For those of you who were here last week, you know we're using pen and paper. Today we are better. It's just unfortunate that my handwriting is not better. But please share your feedback with us. We always try to incorporate all the feedback. The idea, Vele, with these webinars is to assist, to ensure that we get better in delivering them. So thank you very much, guys. That's it. We are done. Thank you. Thank you, Jabu. Thank you, Salome. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Terry.